and it's still doing this. We're live.
Hi, guys, and welcome back. We are here for part two of Anne Rice's interview with a vampire. We're going to get right into it. Let's get the hell out of New Orleans. That's how part two is starting off. It has
Yeah,
gone down.
yeah,
They were done with Lestat. Claudia is pretty much driving the bus or the boat in this case, and they are headed out of New Orleans, getting out of there. So I'd like to start there.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, just in general, just start that.
yes, Louis and Claudia's very abrupt departure from New Orleans.
So you know what? I probably should have gone back and like listened to some of the things that we said, because I think at that particular point in time, I had gone back and I had only listened to part one, and I hadn't gotten to part two. But anyway, yeah. So they left New Orleans. They had just killed Lestat, or at least they thought they had killed Lestat. But I think that on both of their parts, at least at that particular point in time, the fact that they were rushing to leave leaves you to wonder whether or not either one of them thought that Lestat had actually died. Um, so they're racing, and I think at a certain point when Louis had gotten kind of calm, he was like, "Okay, we're on the boat. Claudia's killing her people. I'm kind of watching. I'm eating my rats and whatever. You know what I'm saying?" He started to kind of settle in. He started to get kind of like, okay. Maybe he's not dead, but at the same time, he's getting visions of Lestat. Like, is this Lestat pushing into his head, or is this the love that Louis didn't recognize that he actually had for Lestat? I don't know.
You know, I'm with you with that calmness, and then comes the paranoia. Like, wait a minute. Is he
Mm-hmm.
actually dead? Is he gonna show up around the corner? Is he gonna pop up? Like, okay, is he gonna be waiting for us on the other side? We don't know. So Claudia is feeling like, you know what? Probably should have burned him. I'm thinking maybe he may resurface, pretty much put himself back together like Humpty Dumpty. So there are lots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, lots of thoughts are going in both of their heads. Meanwhile, they're on this ship on the way to Bulgaria or whatever. Um, but Louis, I want to talk about Louis for just a minute since we were on him, and his potential love for Lestat and going from calm to a little bit paranoid, feeling like he's damned and questioning his vampiredom and woe is me and all of these things. Yeah, Louis Louis is a tortured soul that has been consistent. That has been consistent, if nothing else, in this trichotomy, in the movie, in the book, in the show. Tortured soul. Louis.
Wait, wait, wait a minute. What is the trichotomy? Is the trichotomy Louis Lestat and Claudia, or is it the book, the show, the movie?
The book, the show, and the movie. We could go with the other one as well. Both are applicable. We take both. You know,
Okay, okay,
Nothing
okay,
with
okay.
Louis is as simple as a dichotomy. You got to call it a trichotomy, a trifecta. Who knows? With him, it's always a lot going on. But but yeah, he's absolutely
That's
tortured.
the kind of love affair I always wanted. The
Try,
kind of love affair I always wanted. Yeah, yeah.
look. But they're on this ship, and apparently
Yeah.
there's some type of illness on this ship too. but they aren't affected by it.
The illness is Claudia. Without reckless abandon. Like Claudia was just killing, kill, and leaving Louis to clean up after her. Like your girl, she just didn't care. She just did not care.
Showing how much of a
But that's why we
child
love her. That's why we
she
love
is. That's her being a child, a parent cleaning up behind you when you make a mess. That's it.
her. I'm still
But
okay. So I understand that Claudia is supposedly taking the place of his sister or brother, whatever. It's to fill the void, right? Like I get it, but 70 some years. It took him 70 some years to get over. Like I'm not. I don't know how I feel about that.
I would be
I don't know how I
over
feel
it.
about that.
I would be over it. But I guess in essence, even in lieu of all of the years, she still looks like a child.
Hmm.
Even in the way she walks, the way she starts spending money, and all of these things, she still looks like a child.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
Louis,
Hmm.
Louis,
I Louis what?
Louis is a sucker.
He is, but I mean he's also I don't know grief stricken
Hmm.
on so many different levels. And I also think that he was in denial. I think Louis was in denial of the love that he had for Lestat. I don't think he knew or understood that he was in love with Lestat.
Hmm.
That's what I honestly believe.
So, with him, with you feeling like he didn't know or want to admit that he was in love with Lestat, do you think it was more of like a trauma bond? Was it romantic? Was it a combination of things?
Do you mean with Claudia?
With Lestat, or because, or partly because that's my maker. There are a few things with that
Okay,
relationship.
so I'm kind of fast forwarding when Louis was talking to Armand. He was just like, I had absolutely no love for. I'm talking about something that Louis said. He was like, I had no love for him. Yes, he was my maker, and because that was all I knew, I kind of stuck to him. But I had no love for him. I think the love that he had was buried so deep because it was like it was a forbidden love, and he wouldn't allow himself to even see that as a love that he could participate in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not buying the whole I had no love for him. I'm not. And maybe I've seen too much from, from all different vantage points, the movie, the book, the show, to where I'm just not buying it. Like, no, no. You definitely had love, were in love, and lust, all the things. All the things.
Yeah. 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 And in all the places.
Ooh, that's a little double entendre, if you will. All places.
Yes. Yes. So they're leaving now, mind you. Louis always wanted to go to Paris. He always wanted to go to Paris. So we've heard him even talk about this in part one. He wanted to go to Paris when Lestat mentioned Paris. Louis like kind of perked up, but because of Claudia, they decide to go to Eastern Europe. All right, so they're on their way to Bulgaria, and they come across some
And
vampires who are. I'm sorry.
I was about to say some unsavory creatures and some weird stuff. and
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
going
So
where people are very much aware that vampires exist. They're not these fictitious characters or anything like that. Like in New Orleans, like people strategically have garlic up and all of these things. So people are killing vampires because they know they're there. So it's very much a culture shock for them in a bunch of different ways.
And the thing about these vampires is that these vampires are actually different from Claudia, Lestat, and Louis. So these vampires can barely talk. They can barely understand what the hell is happening all around them. And so like they're freaked out. They're like, "What the hell? How is it that Lestat was able to make us? How is it that Lestat is the way that he is? He came from this, and we're looking at these things." These
It's
revenants.
it's the
Um,
difference
and
between a horse and a donkey. Like, whoa, whoa, or even a mule. A mule. No, a mule and a unicorn. It's completely different. Like,
completely,
them alone, y'all are not the same. They're very much
not
under.
at all, not at all. Okay, so do you remember when we were watching the television show and I was just like, "Hey, y'all, I don't know, but I kind of think that that Louis really liked that white guy, the guy who spoke English in that town where they spoke Romanian, Czechoslovak, whatever language that was, Ukrainian, whatever. Um, so to me, it looked like Louis kind of was crushing on old boy. Um, there was a point even in the book where I was just like, I don't know, like what's happening here, and I was just real interested. Like, was that something that just like that popped into your head at all, or it was just kind of like overlooked?
I I didn't get the attraction as far as like romantic or sexual with him and Morgan. More so, I don't know if I felt like he was maybe infatuated with his humanity. There was something that was attractive, but I don't know if I saw it in like a sexual sense with Morgan. But because he doesn't he doesn't desire to kill him at all. He's intrigued by him.
But I mean, up to that point, well, okay, I see your point. I see your point. Okay, all right, cool. Um, so later they one attacks them, and Louis he goes crazy, and he goes crazy not because they it attacked him. He thought that it was going to attack and kill Claudia, and to him that was unthinkable. I'm still like, okay, I get it. She's a kid. You love her, but self preservation never kicked in. It was about saving Claudia. Like, make me understand it.
I guess for me with Louis, he always has this more so than self-preservation, this one foot in life and the other foot in trying to die. And so the only thing is he was just too scared to do it himself. So it doesn't surprise me that he put himself in harm's way, and not just so much because he loves Claudia so much, but to me, he just always seems to want to die. You constantly teetering
But
back
he
and
never
forth.
dies.
He said, yeah, he never dies. Right. A brush with death, but here nonetheless. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, eventually he settles into who he is or whatever. But a lot of the times it's just like, okay, from the beginning, there's something in you that just doesn't want to be here, but you're too scared to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. 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 Um. Yeah, I hear you. I feel you. So what you're saying is basically, um, he was living, but he wasn't alive. He was living his life for others.
Yes, that was better stated. Definitely better stated.
No, 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 no.
But Claudia, that damn Claudia. You the whole reason we out here with these mindless revenants, these bottom of the barrel. I don't even know if you can call them vampires. I don't. I honestly, zombie. I, I feel like it's a step down.
Just bloodsuckers. Just bloodsuckers. Just
Like like the hyena version.
and
Hmm,
and then like they would bury them, and well, and this goes back to what we later learn in the book Lestat. uh Back at that time, they would bury these vampires to be, and so these vampires basically, like, their camp was a cemetery. That's where they hung out. And so, like, the whole that whole little, I don't know, that whole little part was just weird. It was weird. Like, I understand why it was cut out of the movie, and we only saw basically one episode of that in the television show, because it's just weird.
I don't disagree. Like nobody wants to see that, and they couldn't get the hell out of there fast enough. But fooling
Mhm,
around with Claudia
mhm.
and her curiosity and wanting to be able to make more, just fixating on, okay, clearly Lestat made us, Louis, you must know more than you're letting on. You must know how to make more. It's got to be possible. There has to be a way to do it.
Mhm, 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 mhm. When she was basically like, tell me what he did. Um, uh, how did he do it? Show me how he did it. At that particular point, like, she wanted to make her own. Like, she just wanted to make her own. Like, even at that point, you've got to assume that she was thinking about leaving Louis. Even then, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I say, just fixating on wanting to make more. I have to be able to do this. Like, she probably wanted her own little army, own coven, or what have you, of vampires. And boy, wouldn't that be something to
She would
see?
have been a good one.
I was about to say, part of me kind
She would
of,
have been good. And
I was about to say, part of me kind of wishes they
you
would have
go.
allowed it to go in that direction because that would have been something to see because she's so strong willed, even to, the point of not dying as quickly or what, or not at all, really, when Louis first came across her, like just from the very beginning, just tough. So to take her blood as a vampire and create, that would have been something to see.
Hmm. Especially because later on, no, I think it was even in this book. Lestat explained the fact that he gave Claudia more of his blood than he gave to Louis, and so her thirst was real. Her thirst was real. But I wonder if her thirst had more to do with her age than the potential powers that she could have had as a vampire.
Mm. I'm wondering if it's just because of how and who she is before the dark gift. Oh,
Okay. Okay. All right. And what's next?
what I'll just say. Oh, back to Morgan and Louis' kind of, I don't want to say obsession, but our fascination with him. Um, his wife has been killed. His wife has been killed by a vampire, and the townspeople basically want to stake her and cut her head off. And Louis wants to
Mhm.
intervene, and Claudia is like, like, no, you're not getting in there. They don't have anything to do with you. So here we are again. We have them at a disagreement, but he feels for Morgan. He intervene so his wife can have
Kind of went
this.
out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Uh-oh. He does
Nah, keep
decide,
going.
as I say, oh, he does decide to ultimately intervene so Morgan can have this proper burial for his wife. 'Cause he doesn't want them to cut off her head and stake her. Um, so he has the opportunity, I want to say, to like feed on Morgan, if I remember correctly, but his morality won't let him kill him. So
I think he was in love with him.
and look, he's like more to the point. But you know what? You know what? To be fair, Louis fall in love with everybody. He does. It's like he has a little something with everybody. He got something with Daniel. It's something with Armand. It's something with Lestat. It's like it's literally always somebody, Frenier or whatever. And then
But they
there's the
all
weird,
love him back.
people say the weirdness with Claudia. Like Louis, this
They
you're
all
no
love him.
he's no good at it though. He's no good at it. He's horrible. I'm intrigued, Louis. I want to know. I want to know.
That's why he reminds me of me.
You say Louis
You heard
reminds
me? That's why he reminds me of me.
just fall in love every Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, twice on Saturdays, and Sunday you rest.
If they don't do what I don't what if they don't do what I want them to do, I'm no longer like I'm done. Go sit down.
Well,
On to the next. Yeah, can't
but
can't hear you.
oh, how about now?
Yes,
Going
can
there
hear you.
now. So the relationship between Claudia and Louis is a bit strained across these pages. And by the end of it, they can start talking about forgiveness, right? And so they ultimately decide to forgive each other, but Claudia makes it very clear we not forgiving Lestat. She was not letting go of that. Like, nah, we good. We gonna be each other, but not him. Not him. Like,
But you know what? So that's a trauma bond. That is definitely a trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? And he was definitely for it because, like, Lestat wasn't giving him what he needed, and he needed to be educated on what it really meant to be a vampire. And because Lestat was just unable to do that on any kind of level other than kill, 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 which is the exact opposite of who and what Louis was, he wasn't there for it. So that that by itself limited Louis' desire for Lestat in my mind.
yeah, I mean, and you blowing through this money like a housewife and all this other stuff. Lestat did some pretty crappy things. He still left him now.
Yeah.
We'll love them, but Claudia straight up like,
Yeah.
nah, we're not forgiving him. She admired Lestat though. She absolutely admired him. Couldn't
She
stand
became
him.
him.
Yeah, she has his cunning. Definitely has his cunning
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
bloodlust.
Hmm.
That's funny.
Hmm.
But overall thoughts of part two. What were your overall thoughts of part two?
So I kind of said it a little bit earlier. I think part two is so dark and so dreary that like I definitely understand why we didn't see it in the movie, because they got to get to the action, they got to get to the most important parts. Part two is just really not where the action is. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like it was like an interlude in between the most important parts. And the most important parts are the most important parts that we've seen in the movies and the television show. Uh, and I get it. We use it as a source of reference, to kind of like help us understand who these characters are, in terms of Louis and Claudia, because they do delve into who they are just a little bit more, especially like when they do the flashbacks. I'm calling them flashbacks, but it's basically when Louis is talking to Daniel. That kind of like serves as a flashback, and so you get to understand the mind of Louis, and also how Louis interprets Lestat's actions.
Okay. So far, part two, not your favorite part of the book, but still feel that it's necessary in order for us to see the kind of characters, thoughts, actions, development, those sorts of things.
Yeah, it felt like they told Anne Rice, "Hey, we really like this. Make this a little bit longer," and so she went on ahead and she added that in between.
So fluff, fluff
Hmm.
and fill, fluff and filler. Um,
Hmm.
so part two for me, it was kind of like one of those like cautionary tales in that the grass is not always greener. Like, of course, y'all did need to leave New Orleans anyway because of what you guys think you did to the staff, but you go on this quest expecting to find out all of these great things about your origin, and you get there and it's not at all what you were expecting. In fact, it is dreadfully worse. And so, whereas I don't think that this was the most important or most interesting part of the book, I did at least appreciate that because it shows, like, okay, you're running from something, but what you're running to is significantly worse. But did you get answers? You got some answers, just not the ones that you wanted. And so I did appreciate that journey, even though, like you said, it was extremely dark. Um, Running across your cousins that you would probably label the country bumpkins or those weird family members nobody wants to claim. That's what you came across when you got to Bulgaria and Transylvania and all of these places. You know, you got your hillbilly cousins, and now you don't want to be bothered. And so now,
What they
like,
should have done, what Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
I,
you're so
I thought it was a pause. She should have killed. She Anne Rice should have made it so that Louis and Claudia killed them all. That would have been ooh. You know what I'm saying? That would have been worth it.
I love your use of that would have been worth it because we can never get those pages back. And the time spent reading the like all of that just to be like, okay, meet me in Paris because this is not it. Like I do not want to
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
Nutbush. I don't want to go to Mississippi, the backwoods Tennessee, Arkansas, none of them places to where they marry their first cousins. I don't want
Appalachia.
to look deep down in the Delta. I don't want to go to none of them places. And so essentially that's where the end up. But yeah, part two probably won't be my favorite part, but I did still appreciate it. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's it, huh?
That is it. I mean, part two, kind of took a number two, but that's okay. That is okay. It's necessary. It was a part. It was definitely a part.
It was a part. It was a part. It was a part. It was a part. It's kind of like after sex, and you kind of get your you kind of get your a little bit of rest before you go from round two. That's what part two was.
Intermission. Intermission.
Get up and go to the restroom real quick.
Yeah, like we'll come back for the real good part in a minute.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so very much. We had quite a few. Well, we had several people who watched us tonight. No one commented, but that's okay. Hopefully, we will be back. It looks like it's going to be about 2 weeks before we before we get to the next part. But I'm already on the next part. I don't know about you.
Yes.
You know, yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks. Who knows? We'll be back.
We'll be Parisian then. If you know, you know.
Yes, yes. All right. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Y'all have a good one.